Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's live webinar and Q&A. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Tyler Tinoco, and I'm an Investor Relations Manager here at CrowdStreet. I'm pleased to have enterprise sponsor, the Fisher Brothers companies, on the line to discuss the Wynhouse Miami opportunity that recently launched on the CrowdStreet Marketplace. Before we proceed to the presentation, I have a few important announcements to make, so please listen carefully. We will begin accepting offers to invest in this opportunity at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, approximately 30 minutes from now. To ensure that you're ready to place an offer when the Invest Now button becomes available, I'd encourage you to log into your CrowdStreet account and navigate to the offering detail page. There, you will see a live timer counting down until the Invest Now button becomes automatically available. You can locate this button in the upper right-hand side of the offering detail page. Once you have clicked the Invest Now button, you will begin the process to submit an offer for this opportunity. Please note that submitting an offer is just the first step of a four-step process. Once you have selected your investing account, you can select to electronically execute or your offer documents or upload them if you choose to manually complete them. The same documents are also available on the offering detail page under the document section on the right-hand side if you'd like to review these prior to signing. For a full instructional video on how to submit your offer, please visit our Help Center on the CrowdStreet website. Please note that all of you are in a listen-only mode. If you have any questions that you'd like asked during the live Q&A, please type it in the questions feature below and I will ask it on your behalf. Please also keep in mind that the sponsor is unable to provide any responses that may be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. As always, we advise all investors to review the offer documents in their entirety and consult with their legal and/or tax advisors to understand the potential consequences of any investments. Thank you all for listening. And now, without further delay, I'd like to hand the mic over to the sponsor team. The floor is yours, gentlemen.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. My name is Winston Fisher. I'm a senior partner of the Fisher Brothers Company, headquartered in New York City, with offices and operations all over the country. I'm really excited today for this CrowdStreet webinar, for this platform, about the opportunity to partner with all of you who are listening. This is our first offering on CrowdStreet, and I cannot think of a better project, Wynhouse in Miami, to present to you today. This is, hopefully you'll hear something I am deeply passionate about. I believe in this brand, this project, and its ability to make all of us a lot of money. Next, please. So Wynhouse Miami is an art-forward, highly amenitized multifamily building in Wynwood neighborhood. I would say it is the hottest neighborhood in Miami and really one of the hottest neighborhoods in all of this country. Wynwood is growing. There's energy there. It's art forward. There's great restaurants. It is just a really, really cool place to live. And people are moving there in droves. This Wynhouse Miami will be our third property that we've developed under the House brand of residential assets. And you'll hear more about the House brand as we go forward, but this is an art-forward, highly amenitized, and those aren't just words we use, but we painstaking detail for us to think about how do people live today? How do you curate an environment where you're actually living in a community with incredible facilities? So it's not just your apartment, but it's the entire building. For it to be called a house brand, for us, it is something very, very special, and I think you'll see that. We have world-class architects and designers working on this project to build this building. David Rockwell, who this will be his third project with us on the house brand, is one of the premier interior decorators, designers in the country. And I'll say, unlike most offerings that you probably hear about on CrowdStreet, where there's a minority share of ownership, we plan to retain over 50% ownership. And it's very straightforward. People ask why, because we would never ask anybody to invest in something that we are not investing in and that we don't believe in deeply. I believe this is going to make me a lot of money, make my family a lot of money, and if you invest, make you a lot of money. We put our money where our mouth is. And so this is obviously, it's not just money, it's time, it's energy, and we're really excited about this. I think you'll see our target term is 3 years. What you're seeing is a 19.2% IRR, a 1.7 multiple. we underwrite conservatively, and that's just who we are. We've been in business 100 years. When we put something down on paper, we stand by those numbers. Now, obviously market condition, but this is something we believe in, and we believe there's upside. I think these numbers will be better, but I feel 100% confident that I'm going to make what is on that paper and that you'll make that too. And so before we go into more about the neighborhood, about obviously Wynhouse, Miami, and the financials, I'd just like to tell you more about, well, who I am, who Fisher Brothers is, and the team. What obviously myself, Winston Fisher, my background is I did investment banking. I run all of development for Fisher Brothers. I am highly involved in all aspects of design, how we curate acquisitions. I also do the our experiential retail and entertainment. So I'm very about placemaking. You have Alex Adams. He's our managing director of development. He is involved in every detail from when we acquired it through today, through getting it built. And Lucas Schulman, our vice president of acquisitions and development, who's done all the underwriting for Wynhouse. And while you'll meet this team, I can tell you there is a deep bench of people with multiple years of experience behind all three of us. As I mentioned, we're a family-owned business. We are fourth generation today. We trace our roots back to 1915. We have $5.2 billion of assets under management, over 7 million square feet of Class A space, 1,200 units of residential. We're longtime owners, operators of our assets. We also do financing. We run experiential entertainment. It is a full service real estate company that up and down the capital stack, up and down the life cycle. And everything that, again, we do, we have significant amount of capital invested in everything that we are involved in. I'd like to say I use the term conservative entrepreneurs, but we have a history of innovation, and we've invested in cutting edge commercial technology, residential. We are the tip of the spear in experiential real estate across the country. And I always say we look at, it's not just creativity and development or entrepreneurship, it's entrepreneurship in capital structures. It's why we're on Crowd Street. We think this is an amazing platform for the future, the democratization of raising capital. And we are truly honored to be part of this. But I will say, and hopefully you can hear my passion, art and creativity are at the core of every project we develop. I believe deeply, the team believes deeply that is part of the secret sauce, is literally thinking about how do people live, how do people consume happiness, how do people consume community, what are the programs that they want for each place that we develop. And then we think about using art to create a superior living environment. And all of this, everything we talk about, is to drive ROI. I mean, there's passion to also make money. And that is something that is my commitment to everybody here. Our portfolio, this is some of the highlights. We have 4 Class A office buildings in New York City, between 1 and 2 million square foot buildings. We do between 3rd Avenue, Park Avenue, 6th Avenue. We lease, manage, own, clean. We invest significant resources in upgrading all of our buildings. We have House 39, which I'll talk about the house brand later, but it's our luxury multifamily residential property in Murray Hill. 111 Murray, which was a luxury high-end condominium that we built down in Tribeca. And then there's other properties, 87th Street, Chartwell House, stuff we financed in New York. In DC, we have Station Place, 1.3 buildings, 1.6 million square feet of office space right next to Union Station near Capitol Hill. We're one of the largest privately owned office developments in the DC area. Next to that is Station House, another one of our house brands. It's again, luxury multifamily residential property near Union Station. In Las Vegas, we have 80 acres of land that we're developing a master plan community environment called Vegas Rising. It is entertainment, retail, multifamily, and more. That's where we launched Area 15 as the world's first purpose-built experiential entertainment district that is really redefining entertainment in the Las Vegas area and frankly, globally. And, we use all of our learnings from across all of our different investments, plus what we do outside of this to bring that to bear in what we're doing at Wynhouse. And this is, I can't tell you that Wynhouse is a culmination of everything that I've talked about, our experiences to create a superior product in a superior neighborhood. So just go through what we are. I think it's helpful to understand the house brand that I'm asking you to invest in. When we say something is house brand, it must be best in class architecture, architectural amenities and design. We've done other multifamily, but it doesn't meet the house brand standards. Wynhouse does. Each property is unique. It's purpose built to fit into the contextual fabric of the neighborhood. This is the first one was Station House, which was in Washington, D.C. And then we had House 39. The Station House is 378 units. It's 24,000 square feet of retail. We delivered it in 2015. You'll see, development cost there was approximately $156 million. And what you'll see when I talk about Station House here, and then I obviously talk about House 39, is there are some clear similarities in terms of being art forward, creative in design, unique amenities. But what's really important about Station House, all these things I'm talking about, is when we took over the property, there was a dearth of really good amenity-driven buildings in Washington, D.C. A lot of check the box, but actually not well designed. We went through, hired David Rockwell, went through created every element, every place where there's public space. We really thought about the curation, from having a garden, one of the setbacks, to an incredible pool deck, to a lobby that is like checking into a lifestyle high-end luxury hotel. So it's outperformed because of that. Next, please. House 39, which is in New York, we built this in 2017. This is, I mentioned Murray Hill, 372 units, $300 million development project. Again, amenities. We've got a fire pit. Our fitness center is beautiful as Equinox, a steam room, an arcade area, an outdoor terrace, both on the second floor setback and then the roof deck. Commissary kitchen where people can take cooking classes or rent it out for parties. We have a really fun pool. 4th of July at the top of the building, there's an incredible party that you get to overlook and see the fireworks. It is, again, it's not just building the building or the design, it's the programming and how people will consume it. David Rockwell did our space. Again, everything he touches that we've worked with has been highly successful with him. What's really cool is I can tell you we have, during the pandemic, we were the highest occupied building, highest performing building of Rose Associates manages for us and managed multiple buildings around New York because it's a superior product. We're achieving rents $90 to $100 a square foot. People didn't think Murray Hill that would be possible. The house brand drives value, traffic, and it meets a need. And that's what we see at Wynhouse too. So next, I want to just introduce Alex Adams, who I mentioned is the Managing Director of Development. He's going to discuss the Wynwood market and Wynhouse Miami specifically. Alex.
Great. Thank you, Winston, and good afternoon, everybody. I've been working on large-scale multifamily development projects for the better part of 20 years. And I can honestly say that this project, Wynhouse, is easily one of the best projects that I've worked on to date. And so I'm very excited to get the chance to walk you all through it this afternoon. So the story of any project really begins with market fundamentals. For multifamily new construction, population growth and job creation are key demand drivers, and both are areas where the state of Florida and the city of Miami really excel. In 2022, Florida was the fastest growing state in the nation, continuing a long pattern of growth. This continued growth naturally leads to strong demand for housing of all types. And like the state, the city of Miami has witnessed continued strong population growth. Of particular note here are inflows from cities like New York, Washington, D.C., Boston, and Chicago. And we believe this is the result of two key trends that will continue to drive growth in Miami. First, you've got the rise of remote work, right, which has given many knowledge workers increased flexibility in where they choose to live. And many of them are choosing what I like to call the high fun, low tax cities like Miami. Miami is also seeing an increasing number of corporate relocations. And what's important here is that in many cases, these are headquarters level relocations, right? We're talking about firms in high paying, knowledge-based fields, companies like Citadel and Guggenheim. These relocations drive job creation, jobs, which in turn are filled by young professionals in prime age for renting apartments in buildings like ours. Let's turn our focus to Wynwood. So Wynwood is the place to be in the Miami market. By many measures, as Winston said earlier, it may be the most dynamic submarket, not just in Miami or South Florida, but really in the whole country. It's got great walkable scale. It's got a tremendous mix of uses: offices, retail, shopping, restaurants, nightlife, cultural attractions. It's a magnet for tourists and locals alike. It's a place to see and be seen, reminiscent of neighborhoods like Soho here in New York in its formative years. And most importantly, the entire neighborhood is infused with energy, a creative energy, which is something that we've really tried to embrace in the design of our project. So here's a map illustrating where Wynwood sits within the broader Miami marketplace. And as you can see, it's close to everything. 15 minutes to a leading international airport, 20 minutes to the beach, 10 minutes to downtown and Brickell. That's really only part of the story, though. As we zoom in on the neighborhood, what you'll see is an unparalleled mix of neighborhood attractions and amenities, endless choices of top places to eat, drink, and gather. And while there's many recognizable names on the slide, it's important to point out that many of these businesses are not just the shops that you would find in a typical neighborhood. In the new era of retail, where creativity and experience are more important than ever, Wynwood is becoming the place for emerging brands, many of whom could choose to locate anywhere in the world, and they're choosing Wynwood for their flagship locations. All right, so turning now to the building itself. Here, we see an exterior rendering of the building. So the architecture draws heavily on Wynwood's industrial heritage, while also embracing the art and vibrancy that characterize the neighborhood. Wynhouse will be an 8-story building with 308 residential rental apartments. There'll be approximately 24,000 square feet of ground floor retail space and a robust amenity program spanning multiple floors. On the execution side, as Winston mentioned, we've assembled a best-in-class team that includes Rockwell Group. It includes Nichols Architects, one of Miami's leading architecture firms, and it includes Suffolk Construction, an institutional grade builder with a presence up and down the East Coast. We've awarded more than 80% of the work to be performed under a guaranteed maximum price contract with Suffolk. So this includes some of the highest value and most volatile trades: concrete, mechanical, electrical, exterior wall. All of these have been locked in. Pricing is guaranteed, and we're protected from future price escalations. Work on site has already commenced, and we anticipate construction to be complete in early 2025. We anticipate stabilization later that year, and we're expecting a capital event in mid-2026. So turning to the design of the building a bit more.
Is our equity and the aggregate investor equity. As referenced throughout this presentation, we will be retaining at least a 50% equity stake in this project. On the uses side, there are a few things that we'd like to call to your attention. The first is the entitlement and bonus fees. These are as of right bonuses made.
Will make these returns and better that we've shown you. So I like looking at everybody in the eye and always saying, we are, in this case, have real risk in the property. And I think that should make all of you feel better too, that I am highly motivated. This firm is highly motivated to see this success because we have real risk capital and we have all upside together.
Great, thank you. Wynwood is a hot neighborhood right now. How will this building stand out from the rest of the competition?
I could take that one, Winston, if you want.
Please.
So, I think in many ways the answer is simple, right? We build a superior product. We've talked about it a lot, right? Best in class design, highly amenitized, appropriately priced. We build quality buildings. We've built great buildings, and that's one of those things that's easy to say but hard to actually do. And so again, you reference back to what we've talked about, the time that we spend really thinking about designing these buildings. When you walk into one, if you walk into one of our other buildings, and I would encourage you all to do that if you have the chance to, you'll notice it right away, right? It's like anything else. You recognize quality immediately. I think beyond that, we have a track record of building and operating buildings just like this in markets just like this. We know how to lease up the building quickly. We know how to retain occupancy. We can manage through the good times and the bad. Fundamentally, it's an approach, it's a mindset that's sort of a generational mindset that really guides everything that we do. And so I think in short, it really just comes back to we build the best buildings. It's that simple.
Thank you. And why are you using crowdfunding for this opportunity when you've historically self-funded or entered?
And then we have all of our financing opportunities. So I feel pretty good about where the firm is relative to other people today. Plus, we don't have debt coming due in the short term.
Great, thank you for that. In many areas of the country, Florida included, immigrant labor has been key to providing construction-heavy projects in fiscally competitive nature. Do you see the recent passing of Senate Bill 1718 affecting this project?
I'm not. I can't speak to that Senate bill, so I'm just not intimate with what that question refers to personally. This is, and Alex, maybe you can speak to it. We have a world-class reputable GC. We've bought out we do significant financial vetting orders there that are moving there, that are doing work. So this is one of the reasons we are, when you take the totality of what's happening in this market, there's significant institutional capital, that is attracted to these asset classes. And these are, frankly, these cap rates would have been much. It's thriving. I mean, there's great bakeries, and that's what you want in a neighborhood, right? Bakeries, there's clubs, there's restaurants, there's cool fashion. It really is a lot. This product is really needed in this market, and it's a market that will embrace it, both the residential and the retail. And we're excited. I mean, that's just at the end of the day, we're excited to build something great, build something of quality, and build something that is going to have superior value to what's around it. And so I hope that was conveyed, and I appreciate everybody considering. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank the investors on the call for taking the time out of their day to join us and send in some great questions. If you have any questions about the offering that we were unable to get to today, you can always ask them through the questions box on the offering detail page. You can also email us at ir@crowdstreet.com for any questions regarding the offer process. Thank you again for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day.